All right. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to the channel Expatriate Living, previously known as Everyday Carry for Everyday People. Last two videos have been pretty general, looking at different aspects of an expatriate's lifestyle, looking at the mindset, looking at a whole host of different things. For today's video, I want to keep it pretty short, simple, and to the point. All right. So I'm going to look at a couple of things that new expats or expats moving to a different country should consider. All right, so things to prepare in advance. You know that you'd like to go abroad, you know that certain documentation is required. First thing I would suggest is getting a police clearance certificate. It takes a bit of time, so the sooner you get into that there, the better off you'll be. All right. The next thing that you're going to want to look at is attested and notarized documentation, particularly pertaining to academic documents. So things like your degrees, things like your certificates, things like anything that has to do with your job in terms of your academics. Degrees are important. All right. For those who are in South Africa, you're probably going to have to go to basic education and higher education, which is based in Pretoria. All right. Another thing that you might want to consider looking at is, yes, packages look attractive on paper. Remember, you're going to live in those countries there, wherever it might be. So in my case, I've got to look at the cost of living in China. Different places obviously have different rates in the cost of living. Let's take the UAE as an example. If you're looking at the UAE, Dubai is far more expensive than, well, not far more, but at least 30% more expensive than Abu Dhabi. All right. Abu Dhabi is about 25% more expensive than a city like Al Ain. So your cost of living is very important. All right. Looking at price of utilities, looking at price of food. Now, remember, you're an expat. You're going to be in somebody else's country. The things that you used to back home, you might not necessarily find in those countries. And if you do, you're probably going to pay a premium on it. My kids love things like black cat peanut butter. They love things like Romney creams and lemon creams and stuff like that there. So obviously when it's available and we purchase it, it costs a lot more. So your cost of living important, transportation, getting hooked up to the internet, choosing a package. All right, if you're in Saudi Arabia, you're spoiled for choice. You've got STC, you've got Mobily, you've got Zain, you've got all these different companies, but obviously they specialize in offering different packages. So if you're going to go with, let's say hypothetically, Mobily, you're probably going to want to look at mobile data. All right, if you're looking at calling, you might want to look at STC. If you're looking at something that offers a balance, you might want to look at Zain. I don't know. I haven't been in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia since, I want to say, May 2018. So a lot could have changed. All right. So that's number 3, your cost of living, pretty important. All right. The next thing, your medicals and visa procurement. How are you going to go about that there? Are you going to do it yourself? Are you going to get an agent to help you with your visa procurement? Remember, if you are going to a country like Saudi Arabia, you still have to use VFS because they're the ones that deal with the embassy in terms of your visa application. All right, they're the ones that deal with your biometrics. So that's something that you're going to have to look at. If you're looking at a country like China, as an example, you don't have the extra added layer or the extra added expense of a VFS. All right, so your visa procurement, and probably one of the most important things that a lot of expats overlook, whether you are a new expat or whether you're seasoned, particularly if you're moving from one country to another. I know a lot of expats are making the move from the UAE to Saudi Arabia. All right, now most people would think both Gulf countries or Middle Eastern countries or Arab countries, but they do have different laws pertaining to those countries, same region, but the laws are slightly different. All right, looking at the laws, all right, focus on aspects of what can get you into real trouble. You get what I'm saying? If I mean, there could be a whole host of things from morality clauses to what might be completely accepted or generally accepted in your home country might not necessarily be accepted from a moral and a legal stance point in terms of your host country. So those are a few things that I would recommend looking at getting done simply before you make the move. Police clearance or background check or whatever it might be. Attested and notarized academic documents. Obviously, if you're traveling as a family, you're probably going to need your marriage certificate translated. All right. Cost of living in those countries again. Right. What's it going to cost you for food? Do you need to pay for utilities? Okay. Looking at your contract. What does the employer cover? Do they cover your airfare? Don't they cover your airfare? If they cover your airfare, are they willing to reimburse you? Are they willing to reimburse for medical expenses? Are they willing to reimburse for visa agents? Do they provide you with accommodation when you're there? If they don't provide you with accommodation, do they provide you with an accommodation allowance? All right. Do you have enough money to see you through, let's say, the first 2 months there? Because if you are going to get your own place, or you're compelled to get your own place, it might offer you an allowance in your monthly package. Obviously, depending on where you're going in the world, you might have to put up a 3-month deposit, you might have to put up a 6-month deposit. Do you have enough to cover that there? Medical expenses and visa procurement. Are you using an agent? Aren't you using an agent? Are you doing it yourself? What are the costs involved in that there? And again, learning some of the basic laws of your host country. What is generally acceptable by law in your home country might not necessarily be acceptable in your host country. Things like alcohol, things like medication, things like the way you dress, all right, your interactions. So these are just some of the important things that I thought I'd share with everybody out there. I will be putting out another video tomorrow. I'll be looking at a couple of different things in obviously a lot more detail. But if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. If you like the video, give us a like and subscribe. If you don't like it, give us a dislike or a thumbs down so that we know where we are. All right. To everybody out there, stay safe. It is the weekend, so enjoy it. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.